Hello everyone, welcome to my stream. My name is Bruce Rain from Brankus Creations, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. So first of all, I'll just say hello to everyone. Oh, look at all these folks in the chat here. Hello Trina, hello Steve, hello Nate, hello, which might be just you guys by the looks of it. Hello Dana. So this is very much a departure from what I'm sort of doing these days. I've one of my customers who I do quite a lot of recapping for and repairs and stuff like that. Thank you, Steve, for confirming it's loud and clear. I do appreciate that. So this customer said, "Oh, I've got this MacBook Pro that's giving me grief at the moment," and I said, "Well, look, do you want to send it to me for me to have a look at?" And sorry about the chicken noises. So he said, "Yep, no worries, I'll send it to you. We're going to just sort of have a look at it and see if we can figure out what's going on with it." It has been a very long time since I worked on anything this new. Just to clarify, I kind of got into all this stuff, buying broken MacBooks, repairing them, and then reselling them. And I was doing that for a while, and I was really enjoying it. And that's when I bought the microscope and all the nice soldering gear. And why did the chickens decide to do this when I start live streaming? Answer me that. I mean, they've been silent all morning, and then now they decide to make some noise. What are you going to do? Okay, thank you for the admiration of the shirt. Thank you. So I was doing a lot of that sort of Mac work, repairing MacBooks and stuff like that. But it got really hard to do because the problem was that there were lots of other people in the same mindset trying to buy broken MacBooks and repair them and then resell them for a profit. And that it was never particularly profitable, I have to say. But and that presented a big problem because there were two things. First of all, people who started selling broken MacBooks started to realize the value, that there were lots of people out there trying to buy them. And then let's say they had a Mac that they could resell for $500. So here's a broken one. I'm going to sell it to you for $400. And it's like, no, that's not. It's a broken MacBook that I can sell for $500. You're going to have to sell it to me for like $50 because there are so many things that could potentially be wrong with it. I mean, you could maybe look at it and think, okay, I know this one's a relatively easy one to fix, so I'm prepared to spend a little bit more. But other times you would get ones that were just an absolute mess. And you wouldn't be able to repair them. They only become parts for other computers. And then of course the other problem was a lot of these repair guys were absolute hacks, and they would open these things up, start gouging holes in them, doing crappy trace repairs and stuff like that, and then they would resell them and go, "Oh, this is my daughter's MacBook, it stopped working." And then you buy it, you get it, and you open it up and you find out that someone has just absolutely gone to town inside the thing. So that was a nightmare. And so that was the point where I just decided, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I do it every now and again for friends, and I do it every now and again for myself, if I find one. But that was pretty much it. So hello Jay, welcome to the stream. Hello Michael. And okay, so there was one guy that said that it was his son's laptop or something like that. And I opened it up and I saw all this attempted repair work, and I just went back to him and I said, "Really? This is your son's MacBook? Can you tell me about all the attempted repairs you tried on this one?" "Oh, I don't know anything about that." And then I had a look at his sale history, and he had MacBook after MacBook after MacBook. So I just started sending him messages. "Was this one your son's as well? Was this one your son's? How about this one here? Was that your son's too?" And I didn't get any reply to that. But anyhow, that's another story. So let's just jump here over to the side view. Sorry, still a little bit on the green side. This is the MacBook here. We're going to connect some power to it and see what happens. There are a few things that I really don't like about these computers. I don't like these glued-in batteries. I don't like hardwired RAM. The SSD is still removable, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, I mean, I just so much like the idea of being able to upgrade RAM in these things. And of course, I'd like it, the old batteries, they used to just come out as a kind of a solid piece like that. You just lift the whole thing out, you just disconnect it, and away you go. So, Mike. Mike is here. I owe Mike a plug. Mike's Mac Shack. Jump onto his YouTube channel. He's got lots of vintage Mac stuff there. Go and have a look. I got in trouble last time for not giving him a plug, so this is me giving him a plug. Mike's Mac Shack. Check out the YouTube channel. Subscribe. Yeah. Okay, so we are looking at an early 2013 MacBook Pro 15-inch Retina. Early 2013. Did I say 2013? 2013 is what early 2013 MacBook Pro 15-inch. So the first thing we really need to do with this is just find out... oh, where's my zoom? Where's my little remote with my zoom? Ah, here it is. We need to find out exactly what the story is with this. So I'm going to try and fire it up now. I've got my trusty bench power supply up here, and I've got a MagSafe 2 connector connected to it, and that enables me to just run some power to it and then see what's going on. Now, typically what I do with these is I open them up like this. I better zoom this a bit more, hadn't I? Wide. There we go, you can look at all my mess. The mess is, I actually put this mess here purposely, so it makes it look like I'm really busy. That's just, they're just props, essentially. The title says 2015. Does it? Oh, God, I better change it. It's meant to be 2013. Can I edit that now? Edit. Fixing a 2013. MacBook Pro. A brief departure from the vintage Mac. So we go. Updated it. Let's see if that updates automatically. Dear. Thank you for pointing that out, Trina. Okay, so let me connect some power to this. I can't connect it there. That's the USB port, so I might have to flip it up the other way, eh? So, there we go. Let's have a look. I need to obviously protect the privacy of the person whose computer this is, so let's see what happens. Okay, we've got a green light on the thingy. You can't see that. Now we've got a red light, so it is charging. It's drawing 1.4568. It's drawing 1.8 amps. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I would suggest that that is charging the battery. That's a reasonable amount of amps to be drawing. So let's just try the power button. Okay, well, the fans are spinning. It has given us a chime. So we've even got a little mouse on the screen there, and it's starting up. So if we talk about Rossmann, this would be essentially finished. But I happen to know that there is another problem with this, so I'm going to see if I can replicate the issue that he was having. Let's go here. So, yes, I have. The update to 2013 here. Upstream ends. Okay, that should be 8203787. It's not. It's not. It is an 820. So maybe it is a 2015. Maybe I'm just sort of getting overly confused because I'm an old man. Sorry, I just need to put on my magnifying glasses here so I can see. It is an 8. Because maybe it is a 2015 all along. 820-3332. 820-3332. So let's just have a look-see here, shall we? Let's have a look here. I'm just going to jump on to look here. Yeah, no, that's right. It is. Yep, it is 2013, early 2013. So, yes, I have. This is actually interesting. Jay, if you could do me a big favor and post a link to that fancy old website, which I have already used on this Mac, where I did actually punch in the serial number from this Mac, and then it was able to tell me everything about this computer. It was able to tell me where it was built, year it was built, specs, everything, you name it. I mean, it is fancy pants, I tell you. Yeah, Apple serial number info, very, very useful. Okay, so we continue. Early 2013, yes, that's right. So, right, now it did boot. We know that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to restart it, because apparently the problem occurs when you restart. And I'm going to try that. Okay, I have restarted, and it works fine. Interesting thing, when I opened this up, I found a screw floating around inside it, so someone has opened it up already. Okay. Right. Okay. This is not what I wanted. What if I remove it from the power, eh? We'll just run off battery. And let's maybe just do a... how do I force these things to restart? Control command? Yeah, control command and power button. Okay, I've just forced it to reboot, and it's working. This is very frustrating. No, the bonus screw wasn't actually a bonus screw. There was a screw that had been removed, but yes, someone has definitely taken it out. All right, so this is kind of frustrating, and this is actually one of the big issues with doing repairs, is the fact that you know, whenever you you give a computer to someone else to have a look at it, it won't misbehave, and that's kind of where I am at the moment. This one is just simply not misbehaving. So reboot with D key to see what the hardware test says. That's a very good suggestion. You see this J fella. Starting internet recovery. This may take a while. I hope it doesn't take a while. This will be very boring. Sorry, guys. Okay, so basically the symptoms that were described to me, the problems this was having, was that sometimes the screen doesn't start. Oh, God, this is going to ask for a Wi-Fi, isn't it? Mine barely makes it out here. We'll try. Starting internet recovery. This makes it. Okay, so yeah, so basically, as it was described to me, sometimes the screen doesn't come on. The computer still comes on. It still bongs, and we still get the illuminated keyboard and that sort of stuff. But we're not getting a screen. Now, apparently, it wasn't really flickering or anything like that. It was just completely blank. And apparently, you know, if you shine a light on it, you didn't see any image, because that can actually sometimes be an issue where you don't see anything on the screen, but it turns out the backlight's not working, but the actual display is. So you shine a torch on it, you can see the LCD, and then you know it's a backlight isolated issue. Apparently, it was not the case with this one. The screen would just be completely blank. He took it to Apple, and Apple had a look at it and diagnosed it. They said it was the Hall sensor. And they were going to charge, I think it was $900 or something, to replace the logic board. So that was why he sent it to me. Now, the trouble I have, okay, use English as the main language. I'll do that because that's generally the language I speak. Oh, this is a clunky old hardware test, isn't it? Whew. Just so that you can see, I'll spin this around, and you can see. I'm just going to move this camera up a smidge, because it's really aimed at my repair work, where I'm normally just pointing down. So we're just going to lift this up a tiny bit. And there we go. So this is the hardware test. Let's see if we can drop this. Oh, I can't adjust the brightness in this mode. So hardware tests. Testing memory. Yeah, so basically, yeah, so yeah, this is very old. This is like yeah, this is OS 9 type interface we've got here. So the issue that we've basically got here is we've got the screen will not switch on sometimes. and apparently it will switch on usually when you cold boot, but if you then restart the computer, I'll try putting it to sleep and waking it up again and see what happens there. Became utterly useless. The test at least gives meaningful errors if a problem is found. This is good. I actually have a lot of the other tests, the hardware tests, but I don't think I go up to this model. You know, at what point, you know, sort of, there are all these hardware tests. You can actually put in a USB key and boot from a USB key to a hardware test. But at a certain point, Apple stopped doing that. And I think it was around about the 2013 mark, but I could be wrong. I've got a lot of them up in the house there. I should actually grab them and test. But where have I put them, actually? I've got no idea where they are. They might even be down here. But anyway. So, I can't put people through a memory test. How boring is this? How do I make the memory test go faster? 19 seconds. Interesting little thing. I was working on a Macintosh 2 VX the other day. So this is just telling a little anecdote while this is doing its thing. It had a caddy loading CD-ROM drive. And as I have shown in some of my streams before, they need recapping. They've got very bad capacitor leakage. This one was no exception. I took the little controller board off the CD-ROM, and there was some terrible leakage on there. Whipped the caps off. Anything. That's all fine and dandy. But I was about to start recapping it when I noticed something, and I've never seen this before. So this is the drive opened up. As you can see, the board would typically go here. And I found this. So I'm just going to go into my zoomy camera, this one here, and I'm going to zoom in. Better put some light on this, eh? Put some light on here, and we're going to zoom in to that. Now, what you're looking up there is the little laser assembly that actually shines the light on the CD drive to read it. Now, whether you can tell or not from me wobbling and holding this wobbly, that is completely melted. That clear plastic is meant to be round, and it's some kind of weird squished up shape. And that plastic above it, that black plastic, is all rippled, and that's supposed to be flat. So, needless to say, I basically stopped my recapping because there was really no point in recapping it, because this one, even with new caps, is not going to read CDs. So that was a really interesting one. I've never actually had that happen before, never had that occur before, never seen it before. All right, so I think I'm going to have to stop this. I'm going to try a couple of other things. So I'm going to cancel this because, I mean, this is not stuff for a live stream, you know what I mean? So I'm going to restart it. Restart. Okay, hang on. I've got to see what's going on here. There's still an ASD for the 2013, 2014 and up don't have ASD versions. Okay, so I might just duck up very quickly and see if I have the ASD for this one, because the ASD is often, you know, more useful. Stop testing. Stop testing. Right, what I'm going to do, so sorry, I can't control the position of the camera. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly duck up to the house, and I'm going to grab my ASD keys, USB keys. As I say, I'm assuming they're not here. I will just double check, because they could actually be down here already. Okay, no, I don't think they are here. I'm pretty sure I have them up in the main house. So please entertain yourselves for a minute. You can watch this wonderful slidey thing. I'm going to duck upstairs. I am going to grab the ASDs, and we'll give that a whirl and see if that tells us anything. Back soon. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, I do apologise. So who wants to do a little bit of Google research for me and tell me which ASD I should be using for an early 2013? Because I've only got the ASD written on them. So these are my tools, by the way. So I'm just going to jump across here and I'll show you. I've got my operating systems here. So this is, here we go. We've got a bit of Yosemite there, and we've got a bit of mountain lion there, and we've got a bit of snow leopard there. So I basically just have all installers on these USB keys. I keep for every occasion. Makes a lovely necklace as well. Then these are all my ASDs. I don't have all of them, but I've got a fair few of them. So 3S155, thank you very much. 3S, let's see if mine go up that high. 135, 138, 142, 144, 146, 148, 150. You know, at one point they'll drop down to the first one. 156. I've gone from 150 to 156. And then I've got one with no label on it. Do you reckon I should just try 156 and see what happens? Okay. We'll just restart this. I'm going to have to turn this around and face it to me so I can see what I'm doing. Sorry, bang the microphone there. Sorry about that. Right, so good old near enough is good enough attitude. Yeah. 156 equals MacBook Air. I'm pretty sure I have 155, but it's booted, but it's going to tell me once it starts up, it's going to say to me, this is not the right one. I will try the non-label one, but I just have this feeling that if I did 155, I would have put the non-labeled one before 156. Just got that sneaking suspicion. All right, so it is booting. I've got a little Mac logo here, and it's doing something. Okay, does not support this machine, which is exactly what we thought would happen. So I'm just restarting it. This thing has not failed for 1 second since I fired it up. Running off battery or off power. So it would really help me if this thing started stuffing up. Maybe it's because I don't have the case on. ASD actually stands for Apple Service Diagnostics, and it is a tool that Apple created for their technical people to run a series of diagnostics on the Macs. Now, they weren't ever intended for public release, but obviously they got they got released. And so this one is 108. I've gone right back to the start with the one that's not labeled. So yeah, okay. So I'm pretty sure I do have 155, but it's not something that I can kind of set up on the live stream quickly and easily. It does take a bit of time because you actually have to get the what do you call it, the disk image, and then you copy it to a sort of a SD thingy, a USB stick, and it does take a little while. So I'm going to just try one more thing here. I'm going to try two more things here. First of all, I'm going to stick the bottom case on because I've been testing this whole time without the case on the bottom. Maybe there's some sort of pressure related issue going on there. The other thing I'm going to do is I am going to put it to sleep and see if it wakes up. So this is me going to sleep. I mean, not really, I'm still awake. And okay, well, he sleeps, he's sleeping. And then he's come back again. Right. Okay, so then let's go like this. Okay, going to force a reboot. I wonder if the screw was causing a short. Look, it's possible, except the only thing is I think the screw would have been taken out after this problem started occurring, because it was checked by Apple. So I'm assuming that someone has undone it. Okay, so, it's now wanting me to enter a password. I don't want to enter a password. So I'm going to now switch it off. And now, of course, what I'll then end up having to do is probably end up having to go back to him and say, look, is there something I can do on this? I'm going to get him to try and give me some instructions to kind of replicate the issue he's having. And if I can't get it to go wrong, it's very hard. I mean, look, I can take the board out. I can inspect it. I can see if I can see anything ugly there. I don't think this has ever suffered any liquid damage. Yeah, I mean, he has, he's. I don't know who took the screw out, but this one's a password. He didn't need a password before. Now it's asking for a password, so makes it a little bit difficult. And I might have to get that password from it in order for me to continue. All right, so let's just put the bottom case on and see if that has anything to do with it. Just existing causes liquid damage. Yes, this is true. I guess the biggest problem I have with this one here is it's not like, when you open it up and you go, oh, look at this little bit of corrosion, remove the corrosion, start it up, and oh, hey, it's fixed. I haven't been able to get it to do anything wrong yet. So how do I know when it's fixed? It's impossible for me to really tell. So early 2013. Okay, so the initial symptom description was that sometimes, well, actually, no, it wasn't sometimes. It was consistent. When you switch the computer on, it's fine. But if the computer has been restarted, the screen goes completely blank. The keyboard's still illuminated, it still chimes and everything, but the screen goes completely blank. And it's so far I haven't been able to get it to do anything like that. Oops. Okay, so let's try putting the bottom case on and just see if that has anything to do with it. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll close the screen as well. Hall sensor is right next to the USB port on the other side of the board. If it was liquid damage, it would be on that sensor. Yep. Yep, it works there as well. So I'm going to put the bottom back on. Yoink. And zoom out a little bit again. There we go. So, there we go. Pop that on that way. Holds on with magnets. It's nice. It's cute. I like it. Oops. Darn microscope getting in the way. Restart it. It just keeps working. Hey, there you go. Magic touch. I fixed it. All right. Well, that's kind of made this live stream a little bit knackered because as I say, I can go to all the lengths of pulling the board out and everything like that and going in and inspecting it. But, short of, okay, yeah, I might find some liquid damage on there. What I'll do is I'll just jump over the microscope and we will have a look at the Hall sensor. But seeing as that's what Apple said the problem is, and Apple know their products. Okay. So, external display when the internal one goes blank. That we don't know. As in, does it work with an internal display, with an external display when it's blank? We don't know that. Could they get an external display to work? Yep, this is still something we don't know. I mean, this is all going to be stuff that I was going to test today. Time to bring out the Quadra 700 again. I don't know, Dana, are you ready to find that? You ready to find that for me? That where that what is it called? That VIA goes. Yes, Quadra 700. Get that multimeter ready, Dana. Yep, absolutely, Dana. You've got work to do. It's it's just working. I mean, I can't log into it anymore because it's now asking me for a password, which is rather frustrating. I can obviously get the password from the owner of the computer, but I don't have it at the moment. I'm just going to flip him over. Is he off? No, he's on. Fans are spinning. Let's switch him off. Oh, come on. Stop that. Stop it. There we go. Yep, we're off. Okay. Stop working. Now, if I remember rightly, the hall sensor is somewhere around here. I think Jay, you were saying it's. Hang on, I know where it is. I've actually got I've got a few donor boards. So these are basically boards that you buy that have had all the RAM and the CPU and GPU all taken off them, and then they've had holes drilled through them, like that, so that you can't really ever resurrect the board. Ever. I mean, no matter what. But they do come loaded up with parts, so it makes life easy for, doing these sorts of repairs. So I've got a few of these, and I think the hall sensor, I think that's the hall sensor there. Would I be correct there, Jay? If what I am pointing at here, is that the hall sensor right there? Waiting for Jay's response with latency. Hall sensor. Correct, sir. Excellent. Thank you. That's good to know. So the downside is that hall sensor is actually on the other side of this board, so it's not something that I can easily inspect. I can obviously inspect around the area, which is right there, and just see if I notice anything that looks liquid damagey. There's the microscope. So the hall sensor is right on the other side of this blurriness, right there. That little bit jutting out there. Now, I know I can see it. I imagine you guys can see it too. And that is some rather ugly looking probe points there. So we definitely do have, I mean, that is, that is, yeah, this is an 8203332. We definitely do have some yuckiness there. So, maybe this is something related to moisture damage and out of focusness. Sorry, I'm zoomed in a long way, so that's why it's wobbling so much. Let's try and, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so we definitely do have some stuff that doesn't look too crash hot here. We don't like green, and of course it could be worse on the other side as well. I think this board could probably do with a good ultrasonicking, but let's, oops, sorry, bump the microphone again. That probably sounds terrible. So we'll just have a little look around here, see if we see anything else. I haven't taken the heat sinks off, so I haven't even disconnected the battery, so there you go. Won't be doing anything too fancy here. It's very dusty. I'll give you that. Yep. So I mean, okay. So we've got a little bit of gunk there. I won't actually look at that. You can't see it. We've got a bit there. Look at that. Now this is just. I think we might have some moisture-related issues there. Perhaps on the other side. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, so I guess, look, there's enough. I guess there's enough evidence here to suggest that there could be some issues, and perhaps a good idea to whip the board out and see what it's like on the other side. This isn't liquid damage from someone spilling something on it. This is more just damage from, probably moisture in the air, captured from dust, that sort of thing. Because that's really not evidence of someone spilling a drink on it or something like that. So all right. So look, I guess there's enough, there's enough reason to then take this board out. So let's. Shall we do that? Shall we? Shall we go to all the trouble of removing this board? The iFixit guide says takes what is it? What does it say? 1 to 4 hours or something like that. Let's hope it doesn't take me that long. It says 1 to 4 hours. And enough evidence to proceed to court. So we need to disconnect the battery to start off with, and well, that's fairly easy because it's like the old-fashioned ones where it just unclips like that. I like that. And some of the new ones, I did one recently, and disconnecting the battery was a nightmare. It was just all over the shop. Okay, so let's have a look here. So the battery is disconnected. That's great. For good. Now we've got to start removing some of these. I can start using metal tweezers with a little bit more impunity. You can do this in 5 to 10 minutes. Clock starts now. All right. Okay, so let's start getting all these undone. We've got, there we go. I'm going to undo the LCD, whip that out. I normally do this with the microscope, but it would probably make everyone get sick because I zoom around a lot as I'm doing all of the pads. And of course, having said that, I have never taken one of these apart before. But I need to remove all of these little connectors and whatnot. I'm not even in camera at all. Yes, I'm sort of am, but my hand's in the way. Just lift that up. And I'm doing some of this with tweezers where I should probably be using a spudger. Got that comes off. We've got another one here. Just lots of little connectors and stuff. I'm just going to microscope this one. I don't have the best eyesight because I'm old, and so that's why I tend to do things like this with fur on my tweezers, with my microscope. Up, come on, up. Maybe I'll use a scalpel. There we go. What's that streaking on the black plastic at the top of the board? Yes, I noticed that as well. Let's just zoom and have a look. It's almost like it's worn away. See, it's like it has this matte coating here. It's a bit out of focus. This is like a matte coating. It's probably hard to see, but this is like a matte coating here, and this is where it's been kind of smoothed away. So it doesn't, I don't know, it might have been wet or something like that, but it's like it's been rubbed smooth. So that's basically what we're looking at there when we saw that shininess. Okay, so let's keep going with all these connectors. Let's go to our side view again. We've got another one here. We've got to remove all of the little aerial thingies for the Wi-Fi. So let's just do that. These you've got to be super careful with, because if you do happen to remove one of these plugs by accident from the wire, it is not a job you want to do to repair it. Let's disconnect that little guy. I think you'll probably find that's the camera. Come. And let's have a look here. Just want to see if I've missed any other connectors. The fans I'm hoping will come out with it. We're going to have to... which one's this? This is my Torx. Going to have to remove the SSD. Put that to one side. And I got a Ziploc bag. Ziploc. And put that in there. And I'm going to take off the little Wi-Fi. And put that in. I'll just get these screws and put them. I have one of these little things here that's used for like sewing. You know, you put buttons and stuff in it. I just use these for putting screws in. They work really well. Okay. Look at all that hair. You clearly aren't talking about me, are you? Okay, sorry, I should just switch my notifications off, but I just got a little message there, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't my friends trash talking me, that's all. Okay, so well, I've disconnected a lot of things. Let's get this off as well. Stuck onto the fan. Put that in there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, removable SSDs. What a novel concept. Why isn't this coming off? Wait, it's like it's glued down. Is it glued down? It's certainly stuck in now. I can stay on for now. I should probably consult my iFixit, shouldn't I? I'm probably a fair way ahead from where they are. Okay, we've got that. Okay, so, yep, done that. Okay, I've got to remove this rubber. Removing this rubber. What else? Oh, I'm going to need to probably pull these wires off. Check and make sure you can see what I'm doing. Yep, pull these wires off. There. Stuck onto the fan there. And back to iFix. That's not iFixit. That's the schematic of this. And done that already. It says to undo. I've done that. And then it says, grasp the thin size airport card and pull parallel to the logic board. Remove the airport card from the MacBook Pro. Pull parallel. So the old ones used to lift up a bit. This one seems absolutely, I mean, it seems really stuck on. Yeah, it did actually have adhesive on it. So, yep, it was stuck on. So that's why it felt like it was stuck on. Because it was stuck on. Do you want me to say stuck on again? Okay, so I'll just zoom this out because I am moving around a little bit at the moment and I don't want to accidentally go out of camera. Clean them. Yes, I will definitely take the fans out. So I'm just going to go back to my iFixit here. I'll tell you, if this was like a 2011, 2012, you know, that sort of thing, I can just pull those things apart with my eyes closed. I mean, I don't, because that would be really irresponsible of me. Okay, so this thing has got a, what does it say? Hinge, not the socket itself. Okay, I'm going to put this under the microscope again, because once again, this is getting to the point where I can't see stuff. Oh, okay. So this is glued onto the board. Why is so much stuff stuck on? There we go. Maybe just a little bit of extra stick there. Right, back over there. And I'm being joined by a chicken at the moment. So, all right, so now I get to undo some screws. Oh, how much fun is that? Excuse me. I've got one here. They're all different sizes. Oops, that one wasn't in properly. Perhaps not the right one. Maybe someone has had a go at this and sort of put screws all over the shop. So there's that. And there we go. Here's a fan. How exciting. So I'm going to I am going to give that a clean with my, what do you call those things, air compressor. Clear that out, that'd be nice. And the chook's gone away. Sorry, chicken. We call them chooks here. The chicken has gone away again. So my apologies for anyone who was enjoying the company there. All right, and then we've got to do the same on this one. We're going to undo that. Take the rubber, and then we're going to undo these 3. Whoa! No. Door. Should turn this off. This is stuffing up the light. There we go. Look, doesn't that look better? Trace. Oops. Now this one's going to have to be connected somewhere as well. Where? There he is. Yep. All right, and continue back to iFixit, and back here just to check and make sure. Right, let's continue. Done that. Okay, now it wants me to undo this. Oh no, I've already done that. Removing the SSD. So sorry, I jumped ahead. Sorry. We're going to undo this. This little connector between the what's this? The I/O board, power supply board thingy. There we go. That's disconnected. I don't have to take the friggin' I/O board out, do I? It's telling me to take out the I/O board. I can get this out without that, can't I? Can't I? I might skip that. I'll come back to it if it's needed. That's done. I/O board can start. That's what I thought. See, they just done that. Can't see that. Where is that? Ah, there it is. Yep. Okay. So this wants me to undo this little guy here. So I'm just going to grab some tweezers and whip him out. And whip him out. Thank you. And that's already done. Yeah, I definitely skipped a few steps at the beginning there, but that's okay. Then once I use one, to carefully pry rubber screw cap on the raised screw near MagSafe 2 connector. Oh, I could use my fingers. Right, done that. And then we're going to remove the following logic board. Okay, so now we can undo these screws. Isn't that exciting? So we've got, that is a pentalobe of no use to me here. 1, 2. I'd leave the heatsink on the board too. Just 2 screws at each far end disconnect from the chassis. 3. One of them's already out. That was the one I was telling you about before, which is that one there. That one's already been removed. We've decided it wasn't the Apple employee, was it? Because it's feeling like that could come out soon. Oh. Oh. That didn't take 1 to 4 hours. Or maybe I'm not finished yet. Okay, so that what you were mentioning before about the heatsink there, I think I'm doing that, aren't I? Am I? I'm lifting that heatsink up. And then just just got to get all these little connectors and stuff out of the way. They're all sort of... Yeah, he's wiggling. He's definitely wiggling. He's coming out. I feel like this side should come out first, so I can pull it a little bit this way to get the connectors out. I'm just looking out for anyone sort of sending a message going, "Stop!" It's stuck under this little sticky thing on the battery. You'll go. There we go. That's coming up. It's coming up roses, mate. There we go. That's the moment. Something's still holding it in. I can't tell what. There's something grabbing onto it on the other side. Oh, that's the little power connector there. And what do we got here? Oh, and that was connected too. That should have come undone. I obviously didn't read that step. Look at that. That rippling there. Oh, there's... No, that was probably just moisture from me. But listen to that chicken. What a lovely sound. Dulcet tones. Okay, so yeah, I would have expected this to be perfectly smooth. I mean, you do wonder if there was some liquid damage there. But anyhow, let's just grab this and have a look at it from the other side. That goes there very carefully. And then I can get rid of this iFixit thing. And we can get back to having a look. So, this is the side of the board we checked out before and we're fairly happy with, other than seeing a little bit of corrosion here near the hall sensor. So let's now flip him over and see what we see on the other side. Well, we've certainly got dust. Let's just jump onto the microscope here. Okay, so that there is the hall sensor. And as I said, we definitely have a fair share of dust going on here. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for green. That might indicate some, corrosion. I mean, things like... Where are my tweezers? Where are my tweezers? Who stole my tweezers? Come on, own up to it now. There won't be any trouble. There we are. Okay. So things like this, I mean, the way these are kind of discolored, that's not ideal, but I wouldn't be thinking that they would be the cause of any problems. I would think they would still be conductive, even though they don't look too crash hot. We certainly are going to want to give this a good clean in the ultrasonic because it is a bit on the ugly side here. I don't need this paper thing anymore. Let's have a look around here. This is a row of capacitors under here. I don't know why it's shielded, but it is. So there's a row of big fat capacitors under there. Now that's interesting. What's all that about? I mean, does that look to you like someone has put some flux on this and had a crack at it? That is really interesting. It doesn't look like it came out of the factory like that. It looks like earwax. It could well be. But that's some, very careful placement of earwax. Let's just see what that is, shall we? So I'm going to try something here that I've not tried before. I'm going to do this. Hey, look at that board view. So this here is the board view of this, which is fairly important when you're going to do this sort of work. This is the right way around, which is good. It very rarely happens that way. And we are looking in the vicinity... Oh, God, I can't see where I am. There. Okay, so we are up here. And we're around this sort of general vicinity here. I think it might be that guy. Possibly. I'm just going to check. I've got to just check the layout here. I know it would be great if I had a split screen, but that would take sort of someone doing a little bit more preparation than I did in order to do that. No, that's not it. Okay, so yeah, one. It's virtually between the first and second cap. It's that guy, I think. Yeah, it's that guy. There with there. Yep, nothing there. Okay, cool. U8702. So I'm going to just jump across now to Acrobat, which I need to go do in OBS here, and go to PDF. So what was it again? It was U8702. And then we'll go here and go. Ouch. U8702. Bing. Right. Well, thank you for taking me to this page. But did you highlight it? Oops. Oh god, that's right. You can't zoom in with the mouse. You got to zoom in with the keys. U8701. U8702. Okay. GPU over temp masking. Well, I mean, I suppose, given the fact we've got screen issues, it could be something to do with the GPU. Thank you, Jay, for being so much faster than me. Might very well explain some of the symptoms. So, I mean, what are your thoughts, Jay? Do you reckon I just replace this off a donor? I mean, I'm just so confused by the flux around this. I mean, why would someone have done that? It's sort of, has this been repaired before? It's my understanding this hasn't been repaired before. So, this is the model that ended up with the little sponge thing on top to fix their lousy solder joints. Oh, hang on, I'm not on the microscope at the moment. Oh, yes, I am. Just looking under here, apparently what happened with these models. Yeah, see, look at that. There's definitely flux going on under there as well. Someone's had a go at sticking this on again. So apparently with this particular model, oh my god, look at that! Look at how bad that's soldered on! Okay, so just to refresh people's memories, this particular model of Mac, I'd heard about it, I've never used one before, had started having GPU issues. Now, the reason why it had GPU issues is because of what you can see going on here. A really, really lousy job of soldering this chip onto the board. As you can see, there should be solder on these bits here. It should be soldered on. Now, Apple's solution to this problem was to stick this little rubber fella on top so that it would push down when it was in the case. Now, that is just all manner of terrible and stuff. So, okay, so I can be fairly sure that someone has been. I mean, look, there's flux. It's hard to get this angle right, but there's flux all around this as well. You can see, oh, wrong one, this one. Rubber. See that? Look at this. Look at that. So there's flux going on there. So obviously one of the main things we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take this off and stick it back on again, and do it properly. Which, you know, I think that's got to be the first thing we do. Yeah. So all right. So I guess what we need to do, yeah. So I've never actually come across one of these before, but I have read about this issue or seen it, probably in a Rossman vid. So anyhow, I'm just going to keep having a look around here, just to see if there's any evidence of anyone mucking around anymore. In your professional opinion, Jay, for those who are wondering why I keep calling out Jay, If you don't know who Jay is, he is the House of Moth. Oh, there's some green. Like green. This will definitely need some ultrasonicing afterwards and a bit more green. Jay does this sort of thing for a living, whereas I do it for a hobby. So that's why I am referring to Jay to get his opinion on things. See, I reckon there's been flux on this and they haven't cleaned the flux off. And that's why we're getting this green. It's trapped some moisture in there, I suspect. Because I mean, look at that. In your opinion, Jay, would you replace that little flux surrounded chip there? Or would you just clean that off and leave it as it is, or maybe even just hit it with a bit of hot air and reflow it, that sort of thing? What are your thoughts? I mean, the fact that this does start up suggests to me that is not like a faulty chip. I mean, this we know this whole situation with that little chip and the rubber thing. We know that's a fault. So, you know, that's something that I definitely want to go and fix. But I'm inclined to just leave this little guy alone. And just focus on that what was he? U 8900. So it came from a factory like that. Yeah, I mean, I know that the chip not being soldered on properly is definitely a factory fault. But in terms of all this extra flux on here, I really don't know. Replace it? No. Remove it and do it properly? Yes. Okay. All right. Right. So this is a board that has been repaired by Apple in the past. Yeah. So we know what that is. All right. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to whip this guy off. Let's get a little bit of rubber. Hopefully we won't need this rubber anymore. And a little bit of paper here. I wonder if I can get that off. I'm just going to grab my eyebrow tweezers. These are way better for lifting things like this off because you can get a better grip on them. But I'm going to just try and get them off. I don't want to tear it just in case I do decide to use it again. Though I shouldn't need to use it again. Oh, come off, you stupid squishy thing. See, and I don't want to do that. Look. I don't want to do that. Being more careful now. I don't want to do a Dana, like with a pair of pliers. All right. So there's my little rubber fella off. And it's going to be time to take this off. I'm going to just clean this up a little bit. I would like to be able to see the chip. I'd like to be able to see the chip so I can specifically see the dots and stuff, so I know the orientation for when I put it back on. There we go. And I don't know if you can see it in there, but the dot is just there, bottom left. So I just need to make sure when I put that down, that dot goes to the bottom left again. Okay. Okay, once probably solid, the rubber can go. All right, cool. Right, so first thing we need to do is get a whole chunk of the Fluxaroonie on here, which I think is this one. At least there's something to do in this video. I was worried there for a minute that we would just be like, oh, there's enough of them. But we got something to do. There is that's about it's about a half a Rossmann amount of flux. So let's just start going now. I've got a big pair of tweezers for lifting these bigger guys up. Mind you, how's that? I forget working on these just how small the components are compared to the stuff that I do with the vintage Macs. So using the hot air station here, just going to heat up the area. I need to make sure obviously I don't lose any of these components. If I start to feel like they're looking a little bit wobbly, I will lower the air. One of the things I really do hate about these boards is, of course, they use lead-free solder. And the big issue with lead-free solder is the fact that it has a higher melting point. And truth be told, it's just awful to work with. So I'm just heating this up, and my tweezers, and my hand, until I can get that off. I can actually see the solder starting to get shiny now. Jesus, it's taking some time, isn't it? Come on. Come on. I can see chat moving around at the moment. I hope it's not someone there going, "Don't, you're doing it wrong." Because I can't actually look up at it at the moment. I'm too busy here melting. There we go. We can see that starting to shift now. Just this lower right corner that's giving me grief. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to put that little thing aside. Sorry about the focus. Let's resolve that. Let's just catch up on the chat while I'm doing all that. There's quite a bit of flux indeed. I'll stick to the vintage stuff. Thanks. Yes, I'm with you there, Steve. I mean, I don't think I missed this. Focus. No trigger warning here. I was in the kitchen. I've used lead-free solder. Never again. Yep. It's just I just don't like using it. I thought to myself, I need to be responsible. I need to start using it, but no. You're doing it wrong. Hello, David. Welcome to the stream. So we're doing something a little bit more modern here today. I'm actually working on a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and it is one of the Macs that has a very known issue, and that is this particular chip was never soldered on properly. Now I've got my great big vintage Mac soldering tip here, so this could be interesting. I'll be careful not to wreck anything. What I'm going to do now is add some leaded solder into the mix here, which is just going to make it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to whip it away with a bit of solder wick, clean it up, and then we will have it so that we only have leaded solder on there and no lead-free stuff. And that just makes life a little bit easier for us. So I need to do this in a fashion where I don't accidentally remove components. I really don't like having all these little wee tiny components right next to what I'm doing. But I don't get a choice in the matter. So, David, I've got a question for you. How many of those microphones do you have? For those who may not know, David's been offering up microphones as an incentive to subscribe to his channel, which is a good move from a marketing perspective. He just gave one away to Steve from Mac84, and then I hear there's an announcement there's another one coming. So, wow, microphones galore. Right, so just cleaning that off. Still a little bit of solder there. Let me just see if I can get that last little pad. He's only got one more. Okay, no worries. I thought maybe you had sort of like a huge supply of them, like a cupboard full of them, and you just set goals for different subscription goals, and then just have a microphone each time. I thought, All right. Okay, so this is always what we want to do with these. We want to make it so that we're starting off almost like it's the beginning. So, that you've got all these perfectly clean pads. Now, when I put the components onto the vintage boards, what I tend to do is I put the component down and then I solder them. for these modern boards, that's not the way you do it. What you do is you put a bit of solder on here first, and then you actually just drop the component on there and let the surface tension of the solder pull that component into the correct place. Essentially what happens is that rather than us having to try and position this with, pinpoint accuracy, the process of the solder melting, it actually tends to pull that component into the right place all by itself. So now Jay has a chance. Too late, he bought one. He was so ruined by not winning, he actually just went out and bought one. So yeah, too late. Now I need to change tips here. I'm going from this. This is my T12BC2, my favourite tip, and I am now going to this very little tip over here. Might be too little. I might have to actually try a few different tips. We'll see. But this is a tip that I like to use, and it is also a bevel tip, but it's a very, very thin one. Now this one is a T12C1 tip. So I'm going to just give this one a whirl, and we'll see how we go. Hopefully this works. Sorry about the smeariness of the screen here. That's all shiny. Okay. All right. So what we need to do is, once again, we'll grab some more flux and plonk that onto here. And the next thing we're going to do is just melt some solder onto all of these pads. Now I might use my thinner solder for this, seeing as I'm going back to the old modern computer stuff. So what I want is a nice little mound of solder on each one of these pads. And this is where you can see that the old, what do you call it? The old flux comes in handy. Once they start to join together like that, not enough flux. Start again. There's always a trade-off when it comes to soldering. You've got the desire to get heat where you want it, but then you've also got this desire with something like this to have a very, very small tip. And the smaller the tip, the harder it is to get the heat where you want. So it is a constant battle, I find, of trying to get trying to get nice, precise work being done, but at the same time being able to get enough heat to make the solder do what you want it to do. So that's looking all right. I'm fairly happy with that. I've got a little mound of solder on each one of these pads here. Then we just need a little bit of solder in the middle. It doesn't need to be much. Now you see that? So there's not enough heat I'm getting there. That's actually it's not capable of melting it. This tip just does not have enough heat to do that. So what I might do is just change back. I mean, I could always just put the hot air on it, but I just want to demonstrate the difference of when you are using a tip that has a bit more heat. Pop that there. The other thing is that really important thing about these boards, these black boards from these modern MacBook Pros, they're incredibly good at dissipating heat. So they just suck heat away when you are, when you're soldering on them. They just pull the heat. Yeah, see the difference there? See how I was able to actually get that solder to spread around the whole pad because I'm able to get enough heat. Okay, that's enough. Doesn't need to be much. So, once again, we'll just get our little cotton bud or Q-tip, and I'm just going to clean that off a bit, make sure it looks all right for putting our component on. Jay's probably looking at this going, oh my god, that is ugly work. Well, yeah, I know, but I don't do this as much as you do. Just don't like the look of that blob there. Come on. Consign Dagnabbit. Just not happy with that. It's going to have to do. Right, so next thing we do is we stick on about a 0.7 of a Rossmann there, And we grab our little component. This is our little component here, and as you can see, if we just have a look at this from underside, that's what it basically looks like. You've got all these little guys there. We're looking to solder them onto the whoops, crap. Drop my tweezers. Yeah, I've got more. It's okay. It's okay. So we're looking to sort of drop this on. I'll just get rid of that. I might just clean the bottom of this. I think it's a sensible thing to do. I'll pop it there. And we'll just grab some. Oh, wow, we're out of focus, weren't we? Sorry. I'm just going to give that a bit of a clean. And so, yeah, you can see you've got all of these little bits along the side here. They're going to solder onto those pads, and then you've got this big centerpiece which is going to solder onto that other big centerpiece. So let's get this over here. Let's find that dot for the bottom left. It's that way, and then I'm going to apply some heat. Now, rather than what I did last time with the real high air, I'm actually going to get this one slightly higher temp, taking this up to 425 degrees Celsius, but only running at half the fan output, because I don't want to flip this thing up. Oh, fluff. Just like that. Frangipani. Fridge magnet. Okay, I can feel that starting to stick now, so now I just need to get it to the point where it's moving around and it just gets pulled into location. Come on. It's really sucking the heat away, I'm telling you. Whoa. I'm not particularly happy with that at all. I need some more flux on there. I've just gone to town. That's about 1.5 Rossmans there. I'm actually applying some pressure from the top to squeeze out any excess solder from that little flat piece underneath. You can see the little balls appearing on the outside. And because the assumption is that I've got this on straight, I'm going to observe this afterwards. I might have it on as crooked as a question mark. Okay, so might need some more flux and increased airflow to make it dance. You want me to make it dance? Dance, boy, dance. All right, here we go. There we go. See it dancing now? Yeah, it's coming back to me now. You get that point where it actually, that's the, as I was referring to before, that point where the surface tension holds it, you know, it actually puts it in place. So then I'm just going to now apply pressure again. Now that I'm happy with the position. I lost the solder ball there. I'm applying an awful lot of heat here, but because if I cook the chip, that's okay, I've got spares. Alright, so I am having a lot of trouble with this solder. Now, you will notice, of course, that, yes, well, you know, there's off and on as far as I'm concerned with the airflow. Okay, here's a solder ball that went off into the sun. Okay, so all right. So what we need to do now, of course, clean up the edges of this because we've got all these big blobs of solder there. And once again, we need loads of flux. And then I'm going to probably grab a slightly different tip. I'm thinking I might go with something like this. I'll go for a smaller one if I need it, but once again, as I mentioned before, I'm looking for that balance between size and heat. If I go for a really small one, I have trouble getting the heat where I want it to be. And I don't want to be in that situation. Come on, get in there. Get in there, you fucker. There we go. I haven't used this tip in donkey's years. It looks like this. And so it's sort of like a little chisel tip. You look, it's even got rust on it. And dust and all sorts of things. So I'm just waiting that to come up to temp, and then I'll give it a bit of a clean. It should look all right. What is flux made of? Fairy dust. I honestly don't know. No idea. I mean, I can probably read the chemicals off the packet or something, but no idea. Okay, so still looking pretty ugly, but better than it was. I think this might be, I suspect it might be a little bit too big, but we'll just see how we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run this tip down the side of this chip, and what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to get those little bits of solder sticking to the side of this chip as well. Which is, of course, exactly what we didn't have before. The flux does a lot of work to ensure that the you know, sort of the solder doesn't bridge or anything like that. Spin the board around, get a better angle. Alright. There's one on the end here. There we go, that looks a bit better. Right. So, let's see what we've got. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. I'm going to use my toothbrush. And I know I could use a cotton bud or a Q-tip, but I want to get the sides a little bit clean. A lot easier to use a brush for that, so that I can just. So this is what I do in order to see them. I grab the microscope and I slide it right towards me, so that I can then look at this at an angle. So what we're looking at is this chip here, and if we zoom in on that, you can see now we don't have any of those little copper colored areas with it not, you know, not making contact with the chip there. And I'm going to look at all four sides because I want to be sure. To be sure. They're not as nice. This one here, I'm going to clean that up a bit. They're beautiful. And they're beautiful. So this is the only side I'm not particularly happy with. I just want to get a little bit more flux and solder onto that one. So I'll just bring that back there. Oh, microphone, whack microphone. I always like to deafen my listeners, viewers. Okay, so it was this side here I really didn't like the look of, so I'm gonna hit that with a little bit more flux. And when I say a little bit more, you know that's not true. Okay. I want to have a little bit extra solder here. There's one in the corner here I didn't like the look of. All right, let's see. Now, seeing as I'm doing all of this sort of more modern computer stuff, I mean, I'm doing this sort of whole Rossmann thing. Should I start like swearing and making political comments and stuff like that? Or maybe I should bring my cat out. That's what I need to do. I'll bring my cat out. Okay, I'm happy with that. That last one, this one on the very end here, I'm still not 100% with that, but he's all right. He's all right. He's a good joint, you know. Okay. So, sorry for all the wobbly pictures, but there we have it. Now, we also had a look at this one here that had flux all over it, which is this guy just here. Now, the main issue I have with this is that this is what's referred to as a BGA, or a ball grid array chip, which means that if I remove that, if I want to put another one on, I've actually got to have balls on the chip. And the flighty Asian girlfriend. Okay, so going on Jay's recommendation, because let's face it, you know, he's the authority on this. He was saying to, you know, remove this. Be safe. Don't trust in other people's flux. Okay, so it's the little dots in the top right-hand corner on this one. So, once again, asking for Jay's opinion. Do you think I should... do you think I should take one off another board or just reuse this one? Now, for anyone here that tuned in because they wanted to watch me do something with a vintage Mac, I apologise that today it's a little bit less vintage and it's a little bit more sort of Rossmann, Paul Daniels-esque. If you're disappointed, I am sorry. It was not my intention to disappoint, but this is a job where the customer is very, very keen to get this back ASAP. So I prioritised it for today, and I thought, well, I may as well stream it. So there we have 6 little pads, and wow, I can feel that heat in the what do you call that thing? In the heatsink here. The heatsink's definitely doing its job. I'll probably repaste this at the same time. I'll take the heatsink off and I'll stick some new thermal paste, because Apple's thermal paste is notoriously not very good. So I'd reuse that one. Wow, that chip is holding on for dear life. Yes, it was, wasn't it? All right. So once again, we use a. Well, that's only about 1.2 Rossmann. There we go. Incidentally, just sort of letting people know who are interested in the vintage side of things. I recently got given a Quadra 900 logic board. Nothing else, just the board. And no power supply, no case, no drives, nothing, not even a CPU. And I am going to make that one of my next projects. What I'm planning to do is, it's got a little bit of battery leak damage, and it needs to be sort of cleaned up a little bit, and I need to replace a couple of RAM, what do you call those, RAM socket thingies. This isn't a BGA, by the way. I said earlier this was a BGA chip. It's not. This is sort of this. I will be able to just do this the same way as I did the other one, because it's not. It's actually one of these ones. Like, it was very similar to the last chip I did, basically. So let me just see if I can get that solder off that, because I'd like to start this with fresh. There we go. Yeah, so basically what I do it with my Quadra 900, I'm going to put on a CPU, I'm going to replace some of the RAM slots that have got some battery damage, I'm going to put a new battery holder on it. I am currently modifying a PC power supply. I'm going to rewire it so that it is the correct wiring for a Quadra 900. So this is going to be my Quadra 900 power supply. And then I'm probably going to then put it into a case, maybe just a sort of a, maybe any case I can get my hands on, to be honest, that fits the Quadra 900 board. If anyone's seen a Quadra 900 board, they are big. So yeah, that's one of the projects going to be coming up, and I'm going to be live streaming a lot of that. So for anyone who might be interested in that, that is coming up. If that is more your cup of tea rather than this wacky MacBook Air type stuff. Flux. There we go. Barely any flux there at all. So the processor was removed. I think the person who, this is the Quadra 900, I think the person who gave it to me, I think he grabbed the processor to use in something else, which is fine. I have a spare. I've only got one. I mean, I'm glad that I'm not in a situation where I need more than one. I've got a spare. Come on. Blob. I might try a different thing. Ever send you the site where they did a walkthrough of the HX PC replacement on the computer? I did. Well, I don't think he did, but I think I might have found it by myself. And I have to say, I was a little bit unimpressed when he did a diagram of a power supply and showed a 22-pin connector when it's actually a 24-pin connector. So, a little bit unhelpful, I thought. But this is the one that I was looking at. But as it turns out, look, I've got some good photos of what they look like, and I know what the different colors are in terms of voltages. I just basically need 5 volt plus 12 volt minus 12 volt and ground. So yeah, I'm feeling fairly confident. Please do send it to me, Dana, because I would like to see it if it is different to the one that I checked out. Get on there. Is that enough? Is that enough? I think it should be enough. I think we've got enough on there. One of these got more than the other. But see, unlike a ball grid array, this does actually need to sit flush on the board. It doesn't need to hover above the balls. So even if one of these has a bit more solder on it than the other, when I push it down, it'll squeeze it out. Having said that, see what happens when you take the flux away? That'll do. That'll do. Okay, so here we go again. And we're going to, well, upside down that. That was how it was, wasn't it? Everyone remember? Sorry about the picture, obviously, when it's covered in flux like this, it becomes very hard to see this stuff. I mean, for me as well. Can't read that at all. Yeah, that looks right. VE is upside down. That's all I need to know. The VE is upside down. So, same problem that existed before. I've got to get this on here without blowing it away. That's actually soldered a little bit. Maybe it might just be the flux that's holding it on. Okay, it's wobbling, that's good. So then I just wait for that to cool, then I can push it down and squeeze out any of that excess. Okay. I was Retro Comp, hello. This isn't very retro today, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. Okay. Chip ain't playing nowhere. Aaron says hello, he's not available to be here. Hello, Aaron, who's not available to be here. Okay. Hi, not available, Aaron. I thought I accidentally clicked onto a Paul Daniels stream here, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I can do a Paul Daniels impression. I do actually really like watching his streams. It sort of sounds like I'm being rude there, but I'm not. I do actually really enjoy watching his streams, and yeah, it does take me back to when I used to do that stuff for myself. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep the stream under 2 hours. So I've been going now for about an hour and 40. So wrapping up. Yeah, Lewis. Well, I'm too old to be Lewis for starters. Lewis is a young whippersnapper. Okay. I'd really like to sort out what's in here, but oh boy, that is tight. That is tight. I can't really get in between this component and this here. Certainly not with what I've got at the moment. This is one of my smallest tips. I might be able to get in with a bent one. Where are we? Here we are. So look at that. I can't get in there. Just concerned about those little balls. There we go. Okay. Is that on? What do you reckon? Is that on? Does it look on? Let's have a look at it from the side again. I think it's on. All right. I think it's on. So, well, we've addressed the issues that were the most sort of prominent. We had a little bit of grunginess around, which of course we're going to have to clean up in the ultrasonic cleaner. But the main thing to address was this one here, which we have addressed. Oh, look at my sticky fingerprints. Let's just Clean that up. There we go. And this guy here. So what we really want at the moment, we would like this to still work. Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay. I have a little I/O board here. Oh, where's the power? Oh, the power's... Where's the power go? Is this the wrong I/O? No, this is it. But where does the power go? I haven't even look at that. Normally, see, on the older Macs, they would have a little power connector thingy. Oh, that's the power connector thingy. Can I use... No, it's a MagSafe one. I don't even know if I have a MagSafe 2. So I keep a lot of these little power connectors from various computers. But these are all MagSafe 1. They're not MagSafe 2. They've got different plugs on them, so I'm going to have to connect it up. What's this one? That's a MagSafe 2, but that's off a MacBook Air. All right, so I'm going to have to... basically want to connect power up to this to at least see if it still, spins fans, that sort of thing. But I don't want to put the whole thing back together again just yet because, well, needless to say, I have to ultrasonically clean it. So what I'm going to look to do at the moment, if I can, is to at least just get some power to it to see whether I haven't broken it. Will I get the fan spin, that sort of thing. And then we can sort of start looking into the video issues at another time. Now, I do think that I have addressed the issue. If we're talking about video issues with this particular computer, it's, the fact that had that really shonky solder work there, I just feel like it's got to be it. It's got to be fine. So what's he saying? He's helping me here. Jay's helping me here. I give that hall sensor a proper bath too, just in case. Oh, you reckon? Okay. Here we go. Here's an ultrasonic. An alcohol bath. I'll do the other side too, where we had that bit of scunge there. Scunge. Don't forget to brush your teeth, kiddies. There we go. That's a bath. Good enough for me. You got to take the one from the chassis out anyway. Might as well do it now. Okay, so that's what I'll do is I'll take this guy out so that I can connect it up to the power. Keep going for the wrong screwdriver. Connect it up to the power outside of the case. All I'm really concerned about at the moment is seeing that I get a fan spin. Without being too Rossman-y. I want to make sure that what I have done hasn't actually made it so this board doesn't work at all. So that's my primary focus at the moment. So he can go back. He can go over here, Merlin's beard. And then we will just checking to make sure that. All right. Okay. So this connects to something underneath here. Where does it connect to? I wasn't paying too much attention when I pulled it apart. That connects there. Just make sure I get it around the right way. There we go. Okay, so I've got that connected. And then, do I need to connect up the I/O board, Jay, or can I just test it for fan spin without the I/O board connected? I'm just going to... That one. It's not that one. Should be that way around. And that one there. And this one here. So let's just pop those in. It may need the I/O board connected to spin up. Not sure. Okay, cool. Yep, now, as you rightly pointed out, there is one way to find out. Give it a go. Connecting up a fan. I don't really need to connect up two fans, but I will. Now, what I am hoping that this will be like the older boards, that when you connect power up to them, after they've been disconnected from the battery, they'll just fire up. You don't need to actually press a button to start them. I don't know that that's the case, but I'm hoping they're still the same. So, what we've got here, we've got the board out, we've got that done. It's not hot anymore. I have connected up these fans so I can see fan spin. No I/O board at the moment, but we're just going to see what happens when I connect it up to the power. Get a green light. Obviously not going to... Oh, it's gone to orange anyway. Okay, and do these ones take a little while to start up or something, or do they not spin up at all? Have a chook poop on it for good luck. There are actually little pads you can press to boot these, but I don't know where they are on this computer, to force it to start up. Because as I say, I don't know whether these fans will spin up. And of course, then that other thing that we were discussing before is that I don't have the I/O board connected, so perhaps I connect the I/O board. 2013 should spin right away. I thought you had to push a button to boot it. Okay. So, yeah, it is correct. You have to push a button to boot it under normal circumstances. But when there is a... typically with these, when you disconnect the battery, the next time you apply power to it, they will just spin up. So I'm going to connect the I/O board, just, because. And then there's another... I'm going to just move this along here. And then we've got another cable that goes from there to there. And I think I actually have one of those. Oh, actually, I took it out, so there we go. In here. Oh, no. No. Isn't that after a power failure? Well, yes. Removal of the battery is kind of a power failure. And certainly with the older ones, you would basically, if you had disconnected the battery, everything resets and you just apply power and then, it starts up. I/O board connected. And nothing's happening. Spin! So there are two possibilities. Well, probably more than two. But I'll just cover the two possibilities. One is that for whatever reason, setting it up like this it's not able to boot. I don't know. I'm just going to check and see if I'm getting any heat. Doesn't seem to be getting any heat to the CPU. Nothing seems to be getting particularly hot. Another possibility is that I didn't connect one of those components on correctly, which is always possible. Stranger things have happened. Another possibility is any number of things have happened. So, okay. It definitely seems to be with that life. It's only drawing 0.02. Obviously, if this had started up, it would have been drawing a lot more than that in terms of amperage and whatnot. So let's have a look. Just make sure I haven't missed anything obvious. Okay. Make sure I haven't damaged it while I've been working on it. Left any solder balls or anything like that. I'm happy with how that chip is soldered on there. I really don't have any issue with that. This one here I'm less happy about, but it is sort of, I think it's okay. Is it a bit high? I don't know what you reckon. Have I got? Is it not flush? It's hard to tell because it's so fluxy. Oh, I'm not even looking in the microscope. Sorry, guys. Getting too wrapped up. Do you hear another chicken? Not here, no. There's a pigeon out there. I can hear a pigeon at the moment. Just make sure. Ow, I did get that up the right way. Yep, it is up the right way. We will double check. I'm just going to jump onto the board view Yeah, pin 1 in the top right hand corner, and it is. That's good. U800. That one is pin 1 in the bottom left corner. Let's just hope that that is where it is. Yes, pin 1 is the bottom left corner. So yep. Okay, let's just jump back here, and we'll jump back to, where am I? I mean, this here. So, unless, I mean, short of me actually not sort of correctly connecting something up here for testing, which is always possible, there are really only two things that I've actually messed with in this, and that is those two chips. So if I'm going to continue sort of testing it out, I can obviously try replacing those chips in case I don't know, exposed them to too much heat and kill them. As grimy as that board is, an ultrasonic cleaning may bring it back to life. Yeah, I know. So that's what I'm going to do next. Obviously, I can't do that on live stream. It's too noisy. It takes too long and whatnot. It's all up to heat and everything like that. So so anyhow, that's going to be the next step. I'll take off the heat sinks. I will I will pop into the ultrasonic cleaner and give it a bit of a clean, and move that out of the way and put that there. Is better, isn't it, from a view perspective? And we'll just do it one more time just because. Okay, green light. I know, like things like the old MacBook Airs, one of the things they used to do is there would be this pause, and then the fans would do like a little kick spin, and then they'd stop, and then they'd spin again, and that was always that kind of moment of, oh, we've got it. But this does appear to be completely deaded, not as in not working at all. I am not terribly discouraged because, as I say, I've got plenty of spare parts and whatnot, and things and such. So I'm fairly confident that I can go in and, so the next thing I'm going to do is ultrasonically clean it, and then I will sort of test it again after that. If it's still not working, then I'm going to have a go at replacing those components again. I'll take them, those two components, take them off, and put them on again, possibly lifting them off another board. So anyhow, I think I'll probably close the stream now. As I said, I've got a few time constraints, so I can't go on for too long. And so thank you everyone for watching. This, as I say, this slight departure from my normal live streams in terms of doing sort of doing slightly newer stuff rather than the really old vintagey stuff. And you've done a cleaning on stream before with a sound filter. Yeah, I have, but while it's cleaning, then I got nothing else to do. I mean, I have, but yeah, as I say, I wanted to try and wrap it up by 2, so there we go. So thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Feel free to click the like button, and as I say, if you're watching this and you are very disappointed that you're looking at a new Mac rather than an old one, don't worry. This isn't a full-time departure. This is just a one-off. And next up, my next stream will almost definitely be back to normal with the old vintage stuff. So thank you everyone for joining me for this strange little adventure, and I will let you know. I will be putting posts on my Facebook page with regard to how this goes. So jump onto the Brankus Creations Facebook page, and I'll give updates. So thanks again, and we'll see you all later. Bye now.